Hello and welcome to part 11 of my rock creation series. In this video I'm gonna take a look at how to UV unwrap in 3D Studio Max. Since I didn't really like what I got out of ZBrush. So to begin with, I want to export this, so I make sure I'm on subdivision level 1. And then I go to export and export it. You can see I already have a version here. I just did a test on. With that exported, I'm gonna minimize that and open up 3D Studio Max. I use 2017. It has some, since last time I did this it was 2016, and since I installed the newest version, it has some improvements to the UV unwrapping tools actually, so I'm gonna be showing a little bit of that. So let's import this and make sure to import this as a single mesh, because we actually have two polygroups which I believe corresponds to what is it called? Elements? No. Yeah, elements. So I want to make sure to check that. Import as one single mesh. Okay, so in the beginning I mentioned that sometimes the smoothing groups would be missing when I imported it, so I'm just going to check that. So if I select everything with my polygon selected, I can actually see it's already set all of them to 1, and visually also I can see they are already set. So there was somebody on some of my previous videos that mentioned that it was fixed recently, I believe, and it seems to be the case. So that's a good thing. But anyway, what we want to do here is to add a unwrap UVW, and let's click that here. And we can see actually it already it's already showing the seam from inside ZBrush. So to begin with, I want to reset this. So I believe it's inside the UV editor. Reset peel. There you go. So that's gonna get rid of everything. This guy down here. So I really like the icon. It looks like a little orange being peeled. So anyway, so when we're doing this manually, we need to think about what we really want to achieve. And basically what we want to happen is to, oops, I deselected it, to find a way to cut this open so that it can unfold in the most optimal way without causing it to fold or, you know, stretch in order to lay flat. So that's basically what this process involves. So I'm just taking a look at the lower side here, because I think it would be a good idea to just cut the, kind of think of it as we are cutting off the bottom here in one single piece. And for that I'm going to be using the point-to-point seam tool. That's what I have learned to use. Let's see where we'll put this, somewhere here. And the cool thing about the new version is that it shows you visually where it's gonna put that seam. Once you move, you know, here and here, you can see where it's gonna put that seam. So you already know before you click if it's gonna travel the correct direction that you want it to do. So let's pick that one. and I might want to go, I don't know, maybe here, and maybe, I don't know, hang on a sec. Let's try and move from the other side a little bit. Let's go with this. Okay, and this one, the top one, if I were to just lay this flat, pretend this was a piece of paper, it would obviously fold and do all kinds of weird stuff. So I need to find a way to relax it, so or make a cut. And I'm thinking, I'm not really sure what the best way of doing this is. I'm thinking right now that actually maybe I'm just gonna try something. Actually, first of all, I'm gonna do a quick peel, and that creates these two islands here. And one of the nice tools here is the relax, which is gonna try and yeah, relax it so that it's laid out as best as possible. And then we have these two. I don't know if they had those before. This does actually look almost okay, but anyway, as we can see, this one does not have any miscolorations, while this one does have quite a bit of miscolorations, like red and blue. And I can't remember which one is which, but I know one is meaning stretching and one means it's being squished together. So and you can also check area distortion. Again, you want it to be as white as possible with the least amount of red and blue. So just out of this, you can see that we need to do something with the top here. And also we have the text checker, the colored, new colored texture checker. And again, this allows us to see which direction the textures turn, and if something looks distorted. And it's actually not that bad, but still, there's going to be some distortion, especially around the edges here, but it seems actually to be pretty minimal. So right now I'm considering if I should do anything about this, and I think I will. We also have the regular checker pattern, so here we can see again if any of the squares does not look square, like or not square. For example, this one does not look square and this one looks distorted, while if we take a look at from the bottom, it looks very square when you look at them. And they have this size, and if we turn to the other side, you can see they are kind of skewed and so on. So it's definitely worth putting a little time into doing something with this. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is to try putting. Is there a way to turn this off again? Ah, there we go. To put maybe a seam here, and maybe put a seam here. It might be looking a little bit random, but just thinking that if this was kind of a lid, then it would allow it to open up. But then again, we're gonna have some issues here with because it's curving, making quite a bit of a curve here. So I might need to open it up just a little, maybe. I don't know. I'm just gonna try some things. So I'm gonna make a cut here as well. I don't want too many of these, obviously, because they are gonna be visible. So let me just undo that. So what happens when I click the quick peel is that it's gonna open up like this. So from here on I can do my relax. And once it's done moving, I'm just gonna apply and check my angle distortion and my area distortion. So I do have a fair bit of amount of area distortion here around some of the areas up here. But I'm not really sure how much it influences the overall, so I'm gonna check with the checker pattern. I don't know. And I'm actually not sure if I should put one here, because it does have quite a curve inwards here. So right now I'm thinking, what would happen if I made a cut here? It would allow it to swing up, and this one would be flattened. So yeah, I'm just going to try this. Since I'm no expert, I can allow myself some freedom of doing some noob mistakes. So yep, let's try that and see what that did to everything. I'll do a relax and apply and check angle distortion. Looks pretty okay. This one has some blue and red areas as well still. Oops, didn't want to do that. Let's see. To be honest, I'm not really sure how much this means. I'm a little bit concerned about this area up here. So I'm thinking right now that maybe I should try and remove this one. And it's over here. So the stitching tools are used for that. So the way it works is that you want to be in edge mode, and then click either one of these, and if you can't find it in this map, you can always click it out here, and that's going to highlight it in here, and then you can say, okay, this one or this one, and you can always see which is the corresponding one. So the red one is the source, and the blue one is the target. So when it says stitch to target, it's gonna take this face and move it over here, and stitch average is gonna put it basically in between, and the stitch to source is gonna take this one and move it over here, and stitch custom, I have no idea what it does, so let's try that one. Okay. Anyway, so if I used stitch to average, I believe it would put it around in the middle here. Okay, so it seems to be doing the same as custom. And stitch to target would put it over here. As you can see, it flips it over here. Yeah, but that's just a way of, so yeah, for example, if you wanted to take all this area here and stitch it together, I guess maybe you can even select several. I haven't tried that actually. Go away, you. Okay, that's awesome. I bet there's a way of hiding that one. Okay. And then let's stitch to average. I'm just gonna stitch it in the middle here, and then you can do a relax to get things evened out. Even though this does, okay, there we go. Alright, so right now I'm thinking I'm just gonna ignore that one. Okay, so the red seems to be the pinching and the blue seems to be the stretching. That would make pretty good sense, I think. So I'm thinking this one I should maybe just stitch up. Oops. So yeah, that made it a little bit better. And this one here, maybe also just forget about that one. Or maybe not. Okay. Or maybe take this one also. And what happens if I put it here? And quick peel. I'm not really sure if that was good or bad. I'm a bit concerned about this area here. I want to check here if I have some angle distortion. I have a bit here, it seems. Okay, so yeah, as I said, I'm no expert on this. All I can say is you probably want to have as few seams as possible while still having as little angle and area distortion, which I do have a fair amount of right now. So well, it's not a perfect demonstration really. So I'm just going to continue. So anyway, what I find to be useful is just to use this button down here on the arrange elements, which is called pack normalize, which is sometimes if I click it a few times, it does something different. So for example, this one, I have an idea that it would be better if I turned it around, so you can switch to select by UV element this one. So it's going to select everything, and then you can manually rotate this one, and then when you hit normalize, it's going to normalize it different. So it's not super clever, but it's sometimes doing something pretty okay. So obviously we're wasting some space, but yeah, it's just the way it is. So with this, I'm gonna close it up and I'm gonna collapse all. So now the UVs are embedded inside the editable poly, and I can just export this again. So export and just override that same file, and make sure we export texture coordinates and normals and smoother groups, and done. So to finish this video off, we're gonna import it again back. So in our subtool, we have this right now selected. That's our original. So what I want to do with this is to import it again. But if I import just like that, it's just going to overwrite my model. So for now, I'm just going to switch to our clone and then hit import. Might be an easier way to do this, but it works. And then I'm going to copy my UVs from this one. And then I'm gonna go to my original with the subdivisions, and I'm gonna paste them onto here. So if I check with the checkerboard again, just for fun, new texture, here we go. It is gonna look like this, and hopefully you can see it's a little bit more uniform. The size of the checkers on this side is a little bit okay, so it wasn't pinching. As you're stretching, the red is stretching and the blue is pinching. I see. So we have a seam here. So we need to be careful about these seams, because they have, if we are not careful, they will be visible once we get them into Unreal Engine. But that's a whole other story. So with that, we are ready to start baking normals and AO maps. And if you are anywhere like me, yeah, you may not know what the heck those are. So I'm gonna be addressing that in the next video. So thank you for watching, and be seeing you in the next. Bye bye.